In a small coastal town in Norway, fishermen faced a crisis. Some fishermen lost their jobs because there weren't enough fish left in the ocean. The town, which had lived off the fish in the sea for many years, was now struggling to survive. The ocean had become quiet. The vibrant marine life that had sustained the town was disappearing, leaving behind a haunting emptiness. Decades of overfishing had reduced the fish stocks. The nets that were once heavy with fish now came up empty. Climate change warmed the waters, disrupting delicate ecosystems. The rising temperatures affected the breeding patterns of fish and led to the bleaching of corals, further diminishing the marine habitat. Pollution contaminated their fishing grounds. Industrial waste, plastic debris, and chemical runoff had turned the waters into a hazardous environment for marine life. The fishermen knew they needed a new way. They gathered on the docks, discussing their little options and the uncertain future that lay ahead. A group of scientists stepped forward. These were individuals who saw beyond the immediate crisis and envisioned a sustainable future for their community. They proposed a radical solution: farming fish instead of catching them. This idea, though unconventional, promised a way to produce fish sustainably without further minimizing the ocean's resources. The idea was simple yet daring: cultivate fish in a controlled environment, ensuring a steady supply while allowing wild populations to recover. They envisioned large tanks and enclosures where fish could be raised from eggs to maturity. They started with salmon, a species prized for its rich flavor and high market value. Salmon was chosen not only for its economic potential, but also because it was well suited to aquaculture. The experiment was a success. The fish thrived in their new environment, and the first batches of farmed salmon were healthy and abundant. The first harvest of farmed salmon was met with enthusiasm, breathing new life into the struggling town. The community celebrated this new beginning, hopeful for a prosperous future. What began as a local solution quickly gained global attention. News of their success spread, and other coastal communities began to take notice. But as the first farmed salmon hit the markets, controversy erupted. Environmentalists warned about water pollution, genetic mixing with wild fish, and diseases spreading from crowded farms. Supporters argued it was the only way to feed a growing population without depleting natural fish stocks. Now, fish farming has become one of the most hotly debated solutions to our planet's food crisis. Can it truly save our oceans, or is it causing more harm than good? Stay with us as we explore both sides of this fascinating issue and uncover the truth behind the promise and the pitfalls of aquaculture. Aquaculture, at its core, is the cultivation of aquatic organisms in controlled environments. Imagine underwater gardens where fish, shellfish, and even seaweed are carefully raised and harvested. There are various methods of aquaculture. Some farms operate in open water using large nets to contain fish in natural bodies of water like lakes or oceans. Others utilize land-based tanks or ponds, recirculating and filtering water to create a closed-loop system. Fish farmers carefully manage every aspect of the process. They select species suited for farming, provide appropriate feed and nutrition, monitor water quality, and protect their stock from predators and diseases. The goal is to create optimal conditions for growth and reproduction, ensuring a consistent and predictable yield. The rise of aquaculture brought hope to a world facing a seafood crisis. As traditional fishing methods struggled to meet the ever-growing demand for seafood, aquaculture emerged as a beacon of sustainability and innovation. Wild fish stocks were dwindling, unable to keep up with the increasing demands of a growing population. Overfishing had left many marine ecosystems on the brink of collapse, threatening biodiversity and the livelihoods of those who depended on the sea. Fish farming offered a solution, a sustainable source of protein that could be produced efficiently and affordably. By cultivating fish in controlled environments, we could ensure a steady supply of seafood without depleting natural resources. By cultivating fish, we could ease the pressure on wild populations, allowing them to replenish. This practice not only helps in conserving marine life, but also supports the restoration of ocean habitats. Aquaculture also promised economic benefits. It opened new avenues for trade and commerce, providing fresh and high-quality seafood to markets worldwide. Coastal communities, struggling with the decline of traditional fishing, found new opportunities in fish farming. This shift not only preserved their way of life, but also brought renewed hope and prosperity. The industry created jobs, stimulated local economies, and offered a path to economic stability. Training programs and new technologies further empowered these communities, ensuring long-term success. Furthermore, fish farming could be environmentally friendly. Innovations in sustainable practices and renewable energy sources have made it possible to farm fish with minimal ecological footprint. By raising fish in controlled environments, we could minimize habitat destruction caused by traditional fishing methods like trawling. This approach not only protects marine ecosystems but also ensures the health and quality of the fish we consume. Despite its promises, aquaculture also presented challenges. While it has the potential to provide a sustainable source of seafood, the environmental costs cannot be ignored. Intensive fish farming could negatively impact the environment if not managed responsibly. The concentration of fish in a confined space can lead to significant waste production. One major concern was water pollution. The effluents from fish farms, including uneaten feed and fish excrement, can lead to nutrient overload in the water. The waste products from densely populated fish farms, including uneaten feed and feces, could accumulate in the surrounding water. This accumulation can cause eutrophication, leading to excessive growth of algae. This could lead to oxygen depletion, harming other marine life and creating dead zones in the ocean. These zones are areas where the oxygen levels are so low that marine life cannot survive. Another concern was the spread of diseases. Fish farms, with their high density of fish, can become breeding grounds for various pathogens. Fish raised in close proximity were more susceptible to parasites and infections, which could spread quickly through the farm and potentially infect wild populations. This can have devastating effects on local ecosystems. The escape of farmed fish also posed a risk. These escapes can occur due to damaged nets or human error. These fish, often genetically different from their wild counterparts, could interbreed with wild populations, potentially weakening the gene pool and disrupting natural ecosystems. The introduction of non-native species can also lead to competition for resources, further stressing the environment. To truly understand the complexities of aquaculture, we must look beyond the generalizations and examine specific examples. The story of salmon farming in Norway, where it all began, offers a glimpse into both the successes and challenges of this industry. On one hand, Norway has emerged as a global leader in salmon aquaculture, implementing strict regulations and investing in research to minimize its environmental impact. They have successfully reduced the use of antibiotics and developed innovative methods for waste management. On the other hand, challenges remain. Escaped salmon still pose a risk to wild populations, and the industry's reliance on wild-caught fish for feed continues to raise concerns about sustainability. The success of Norwegian salmon farming highlights the potential for aquaculture to be a sustainable food source. Through technological advancements and responsible practices, Norway has managed to minimize the environmental footprint of salmon farming. They have implemented strict regulations on feed composition, waste management, and disease prevention. The use of closed containment systems, where fish are raised in tanks on land, has further reduced the industry's impact on surrounding ecosystems. These systems allow for better control of water quality and prevent the escape of farmed fish. The Norwegian experience demonstrates that with careful planning, innovation, and strict regulations, aquaculture can be a responsible and sustainable way to meet the world's growing demand for protein. While salmon farming in Norway offers a positive example, the shrimp farming industry in Southeast Asia presents a cautionary tale. Unregulated expansion and unsustainable practices have led to widespread environmental damage in some regions. Mangrove forests, vital ecosystems that serve as nurseries for numerous marine species, have been cleared to make way for shrimp ponds. The discharge of untreated wastewater from shrimp farms has polluted coastal waters, harming marine life and threatening human health. The shrimp farming industry in Southeast Asia highlights the importance of responsible aquaculture practices and the need for strong regulations to prevent environmental degradation. The future of aquaculture hinges on our ability to balance economic benefits with environmental responsibility. We must move away from unsustainable practices that prioritize short-term profits over long-term ecological health. This requires a multifaceted approach involving governments, industry leaders, scientists, and consumers. Governments play a crucial role in setting and enforcing regulations that protect the environment and ensure the long-term sustainability of the industry. This includes setting limits on farm density, regulating waste discharge, and promoting sustainable feed options. Industry leaders must embrace sustainable practices, investing in technologies that minimize environmental impact and ensuring the welfare of farmed fish. The story of aquaculture is still being written. It has the potential to be a force for good, providing a sustainable source of protein and supporting livelihoods. However, it can also cause significant harm if not managed responsibly. The key lies in embracing responsible aquaculture practices that prioritize environmental sustainability, social responsibility, and economic viability. As consumers, we have the power to drive change by choosing seafood from certified sustainable sources and supporting companies committed to responsible aquaculture practices. By working together, we can ensure that aquaculture fulfills its promise of providing food security for a growing population while protecting the health of our oceans for generations to come.